going on, Jerome's? Happy Tuesday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. But, of course, the Wolves, now 2-2 with the defending champs. And, frankly, if at the start of the series, that's where you said they would be after 4 games, you would take it, right? But just the order that it happened. But got faith. Ant Edwards going to take over. Hopefully a supporting cast can actually do a little something. And I think that the Nuggets won't shoot 95% from everywhere on the freaking floor. We'll see. Also, the hell, Aaron Gordon to have a back-to-back career games? Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. But Wolves in 6. Go out to Denver, take care of things, and let's wrap up things at Target Center in Game 6. There you go. Speaking of wrapping up. So, again, the Lions, who had a magic carpet ride season last year, respect. It happens. But I feel like their one-time lightning in a bottle season is just going to gone away. Because if they had held on to their massive lead against the Niners, I think that the Lions would have boat raced the Chiefs. I really do. I think that Mahomes' magic at the end wouldn't have mattered because I think the Lions would have woodshedded the Chiefs. But it is what it is. Happens, man. But they've already paid Amon St. Brown. They've already paid Penny Sewell. And now they paid Goof a 4-year, $212 million deal with $170 million guaranteed. And now, remember, Kurt had a 4-year, $180 with $100 million guaranteed. And yes, age is a factor here. Jared Goof is 30. But that's a lot. That's a lot for a very mid quarterback. And I understand that Lions fans are going to be like, oh, he's not mid. Kind of is. Like, honestly, if you're making a pantheon of the current legit franchise quarterbacks right now, Jared Goff would not be on the list. Like, now, Jared Goff is a guy that you can win a Super Bowl with. He's not going to be a guy that you win a Super Bowl because of. But now, by average per season, he's the second highest paid quarterback or player in NFL history behind Joe Burrow. Okay. That guy. And also, with 3 guys. So, Sewell, stud. Amon St. Brown, stud. Jared Goof, But $444 million with about $350 million guaranteed. Adios, mio. Now we'll see if Brad Holmes can be a legit GM and just continue to hit on some of those draft picks, but it happens, man. Speaking of getting paid, so our guy Antoine Winfield Jr. got paid. Super Bowl champion, All-Pro, All-World, All-Everything. Schefter, go. Antoine Winfield Jr. is now the highest paid defensive back in NFL history after he and the Bucs reached a agreement. Now, this is big. Not just safety, defensive back, including corners, which corner money is going through the roof. Bucs reached an agreement on a 4-year, $84.1 million deal per sources. It's the first time in modern NFL history that a safety has set this mark. Now, the bar is set for Lewis Cine extension when he's eligible after the season. But Winfield's a stud. You knew that he was going to be a stud. And, of course, bloodlines, you want him. His pops was, pound for pound, might be one of my favorite players in NFL history. Also, I got to get me a Winfield jersey. I feel like that's going to be the next acquisition. And also, so Winfield Sr., back in the day, used to play at Canterbury all the time. Back when they had 30-60 and those tan clay $10 chips. And Winfield is actually tough. So I never got a chance to play with Winfield. I never got a chance to play with Adrian. I played with Russell Westbrook a bunch when he's in town. Russell Westbrook is actually pretty damn good. Winfield is actually pretty tough too. Adrian, terrible. Also, Hawkinson was in Canterbury a couple weeks ago. Apparently, he's a very bad blackjack player. Basic strategy? No. But Winfield, so Winfield Sr. would always have two-per. Just bringing chips, whatever. But it was a short putt, right? Because the Vikings in 2020, when Winfield was in the draft, took Jefferson at 22, yes. They had 22 and 25, and they traded 25 to the Niners, who took Brandon Ayuk, which, I don't know. Like, we didn't really need 2 receivers, but could you imagine JJ and Ayuk together? Woo! Come on, man. But the Vikings eventually at 31 took Jeff Gladney, rest in power. Didn't work out, but the Vikings, you could say, well, hey, the Vikings had Harrison Smith, and they were pretty good at safety, but Winfield Jr. is an all-purpose DB. He could have played outside corner. He could have played slot. He could have done everything, man, but it didn't work out. And I feel like that the Winfield Jr. one is much more egregious than the passing on Kyle Hamilton and Lewis Cine, right? Because Winfield Jr., you knew, like legacy guy, Vikings guy. His pops played for the Vikings. He literally lived here. He played for the Gophers, played high school ball at Edina for a while. Eden Prairie for a while. So That one's a larger miss. That one's more on Spielman. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Spielman guy, so Rudy. So again, I feel like we didn't make enough of the fact that we, for a decade, literally had a Rudy from Notre Dame. It never became a thing. Maybe because Rudy is like 6'6" and 265, and Daniel Rudiger was like, well, I don't know, like 5'4". Like he might have been a hobbit. Anyways, but so Rudy on the field, meeting with JJ McCarthy, talk about things. I wonder what they're chatting about. I don't know, like yards after catch is overrated. It was like, hey, Christian Ponder was supposed to be good. Be better than Christian Ponder. It's a low bar, man. It's a low bar. But also, I mean, so I know that McCarthy's like 6'2". He looks kind of short compared to Rudy. I know there's a 4-inch difference, but maybe it's the hair. I feel like the hair adds a couple inches, and he's actually 5'10". Like, is this a Bryce Young situation going on? Has Bryce Young considered getting the broccoli haircut like JJ McCarthy and all the kids that say it's bussin'? I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, the Vikings signed an International Player Pathway. They need to shorten that acronym. How about just International Player instead of you down with IPPPPP? Yeah, you know me. But Samus Reyes, formerly of the Chilean national basketball team, played some college ball as well. Power forward, 6'7", 260 and whatnot, was with the Commies in 2021. Saw some action, but doesn't count against the 90-man. Doesn't count against the practice squad or the 53 once we get there. And he's an athletic freak, but he's super interesting. First Chilean-born player to ever appear in an NFL game. Get your Chile hot. Let's go, man. Also, I can't look at Sam Darnold and not see the villain from The Incredibles. Also, I can't look at him in a Jets jersey and not laugh. Those Jets uniforms were the worst in team history, and that's saying a lot. But also, this would add a very sexy chapter. Like, say Sam Darnold holds off McCarthy and he starts and he's a stud, and this just adds another chapter in the dumbest rivalry in sports history. The Vikings and the Jets, but Darnold, number 3 overall pick in 2018, didn't work out for a myriad of reasons. One of them is Adam Gase. Adam Gase was very poopy as a head coach with the Dolphins, with the Jets. Like, his claim to fame was, hey, I was the offense coordinator for Peyton Manning in Denver when Peyton Manning just ran the Peyton Manning offense, and basically I was just there like, sounds good, Peyton. Draw by your team. He's out there looking like a third base coach. Get the hell out of here. But great meme. Never forget when Adam Gase skipped Thanksgiving dinner with his family in 2019 to prepare for the 0-11 Bengals. The Jets lost 22-6 and failed to score a touchdown. So again, everyone wants to write Sam Darnold off as a bust. He was a 20-year-old kid who ended up with the Jets. So now he's surrounded by adults and talent. We'll take that. Speaking of talent, Dallas freaking Turner, man. Diamond Dallas Turner, baby. Vikings first-round pick Dallas Turner on the transition so far to the NFL. This is from Vikes fan page. Quote, in the first defensive meeting, Coach Flores orchestrated it with the same rules, regulations, and day one base stuff that was the same in college. Now, you may... If you read that on its face and you didn't have the context, you'd be like, oh, it's just like, this NFL stuff, it's easy. It's just like college. No. I mean, Dallas Turner came from Alabama, and Saban ran one of the most complex defenses in college football. And a lot of Alabama defenders, especially defensive backs, have come out and says, like, hey, our defense was much more complicated in terms of communication, in terms of knowledge of the scheme, in terms of what you need to do, reading your keys and adjusting on the fly. Because basically, so in a nutshell, the Saban defense, they come out with a matchup zone, basically. So they'll show zone, and then once the route concepts get out there, the defensive backs that match up and man up. So the whole Rip Lizzie thing and the whole thing about Saban is like, Saban's a DB coach at heart. He played DB back at Kent State back in the day, and that's where his heart lies. So any good defensive back that comes out of Alabama is good to go. That's why got hope for Kyrie Jackson, even though Saban's suspended him. It happens, man. But again, so back to Dallas Turner. I mean, the pedigree that this guy has had. So he had 3 years with Nick Saban. It was Nick Saban's last defense, last ride, all that stuff. And now he gets to work with Brian Flores, who's an acolyte of Bill Belichick. And Belichick and Saban, were two of the greatest defensive minds in modern NFL history, or modern football history, rather. And also, the Browns had Saban and Belichick, and they didn't even go to a Super Bowl. What the hell, man? That's Cleveland. Speaking of Cleveland, we're hot with the transitions nowadays. But so LeBron James' kid, Bronny, the pride of USC. We do not claim him. But yeah, he's declared for the declared for the NBA at NBA Combine. And obviously, like if his name was Bartkowski, he would not be drafted. I think that he'll be a second-round pick by a team that wants to lure LeBron to opt out of his Lakers contract and sign as a free agent wherever. The Pistons have a chance to do the funniest thing. Just draft Bronny in the second round and then just try and get LeBron there. But so Bronny, 6'1.5", 210, and a 6 foot 7'2" wingspan. We need to talk about Bronny James becoming an outside cornerback. We need it. We need it, or like a big slot. We need to have that discussion because he's not going to make it in the NBA. Like he will be on a team for a year with his dad. And then he will be in the G League / Europe, and that's it. Or Bronny, Broseph, do you want to come to the Minnesota Vikings, play for Brian Flores, and become one of the greatest cornerbacks in National Football League history? That's it. Because he ain't going to make it as a basketball player. Also, I feel like it's so rough getting into the family business because you're always going to be compared to your dad. And I respect anyone who does it. Winfield, like Antoine Winfield, could you play baseball or a different sport, picked up soccer or something? But no, he followed in his dad's footsteps at his dad's position. So it's like, Peyton and Eli and Archie, or, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Marvin Harrison Sr. So it's tough. It's rough. And Bronny's not going to be his dad. He's not going to be 10% of the player that his dad was, and it is what it is. And again, you want to come play defensive? Hey, was LeBron James Jr., was he ever born outside the country? Could he be the international pathway player? I'll take him over the Chilean dude, even though no disrespect. That's all. That's all, man. But anyways, please, Wolves, sweet baby Jesus, please, or you can't lose 3 in a row. The Wolves haven't lost 3 in a row at any point this year. Anthony Edwards, dear Anthony Edwards, please save us. That's all. That's all, man. Anyways, Vikings news up for this wonderful Tuesday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value. Sylvie cameo? Getting close? No? She's literally right off out frame. Oh, there she goes. Nailed it.